I know what it is you do. There is still time for you. We'll show you the way to the kingdom of heaven. Repent, or you will be left for the final cleansing.
How are you doing, guys? Nice to speak to you.
Nice to speak to you too.
Where's all the movies? I just watched it again last night. It's fantastic. It's all of your movies are fantastic. I love the fact that they take me out of my comfort zone, but because they're so authentic and so real. And this one was the same case. It felt almost kind of quasi-documentary in a way. Was that something that you set out to from the get-go? Especially, I mean, with all your films, they feel almost kind of like you've gone out to create a kind of fly-on-the-wall quasi-documentary kind of film story. Was that the case with this one as well?
Yeah, I don't know. It's flattering that you say all those nice things. Yeah, and thank you. No, I don't know. I guess that's a style that I do unknowingly. But I just kind of wanted it to feel real, and I wanted the audience to feel connected to the characters and to kind of fall in love with them before we started killing them. So, yeah, that was kind of the intent.
Oh. I mean, the reason I ask you is I spoke to you years ago when we did the Martyrs movie, and when you spoke about that one, Let Me Make You a Martyr, you were concerned about the dialogue because it was was your first feature film, I think, and you were kind of concerned that it was kind of that people didn't speak as natural as that, and I said to you exactly the opposite. I felt it worked really well, and this works just as well. Is that something that you feel more free when you're writing now, that you feel more confident about the way that you write your characters now compared to when we talked about the first film you did?
Man, that's cool. I didn't realize I was coming out of a little drug-induced haze back then when we talked. So
that was just over the phone, so you probably can't remember that.
Yeah, well, it's really cool that I actually remember talking to you. I was in a car. We were going to Austin when I talked to him. Yeah. Anyway, but that's really cool. No, I'd say I have more confidence now. I'm pretty confident in my ability to write characters. I take a lot of pride in them, and I think I've gotten a lot better at it. And in this movie in particular, it just kind of poured out of me in terms of the relationships and the dialogue between everybody. So yeah, I think I definitely don't overwrite people anymore. I think in Let Me Make You a Martyr, I may have been guilty of doing that a little bit, but I don't regret any of it. So
no, definitely not. Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah. So I mean, Sam, obviously you worked with him. You worked with John for quite a few films now. When you work with him, I mean, this film really took me out of my comfort zone. I can't even imagine how much you took yourself out of your comfort zone to film this film. No, how much of that is you doing your homework, and how much is that is kind of the script and John kind of giving you pointers how to make it as authentic as possible?
I felt really safe, and it felt like a place to have fun and play. But that's because of John. I know him very well, and Jeremy, I've worked with a bunch, and it's I feel like if it's a trusting environment, you can do anything. But I wouldn't have done this movie with someone I didn't know, that I didn't like look at their work. I wouldn't have trusted it. So, but because they were doing it, and I know their intentions are pure, and it was a blast. It was really fun. And those scenes, like the opening shot, like I was definitely nervous. I had never done a sex scene like that before. And I remember hysterically laughing after it was done. I had a blast. It was really fun. So
obviously when you do a film like that, I mean, I didn't think it was gratuitous at all, because it plays into exactly what I was saying. It feels almost like a documentary, fly on the wall film, no? But a lot of people who are they're obviously going to say, wow, what's he doing? Why is he being so gratuitous? There's no need to show all of this sexual content, all this bloodletting. Did you kind of create any limits for yourself? Did you know exactly kind of what you wanted to show the audience, and why?
You're talking to me or him?
To John, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it would sound funny if we said we set limits, because we show pretty much everything in this movie. But I did believe that there is a tasteful way to show anything, and I think intention is everything too. So, it wasn't like I was, there's a little bit of shock there, but nothing's done without intent, or creative intent, or, or storytelling intent either. So yeah, there were limits. You know, sometimes with certain shots, like, you know, there's a one in particular that's you don't see a lot in movies. The last time you saw it was when Sharon Stone did it. And
Right, I
it's
know what
kind
you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But it's, you know, it's a matter of frames. If you stay on that shot an extra 10 frames, it might feel
Kill
distasteful.
it. Yeah.
The amount of time that we stay on it, it's really kind of a button on the end of a joke and you move on. So it's interesting to see it now in a theater with people where they almost don't even react to it because they actually realize that it happened about 5 seconds after the shot's gone. They're kind of like, holy shit, I can't believe I
Yeah.
just fucking saw that. But
Yeah.
yeah, but it was important for things to feel tasteful, you know?
Yeah.
So
No, and I mean, I just asked you because obviously people, everyone, there's always going to be someone who's going to, the naysayers, no, they're always going to complain about it. But I felt it worked in the film's favor. I mean, I think for me, what kind of took me out of the comfort zone the most was I don't want to give too much away, but the priest who kind of, he takes his teeth out and things happen. And that kind of, that for me, that was more shocking and more kind of took me out of my comfort zone than any of the other stuff, definitely.
right here, those are the teeth.
But that's yeah.
He keeps a pair in both our cars too.
But these were his
so
actual teeth. The actor whose teeth these were, Mark Ward, he passed away actually.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Summer, and it was very sad. And Jeremy, the producer, and I actually became the executives of his estate. And at the crime scene where he died, I found his teeth and I took them and I got them in a jar. So they will live on in infamy. And if I ever miss them too much, I can put them in my mouth and walk around the house.
Well,
So,
he's left quite a legacy between his teeth in that scene. No, it's a fantastic scene. Yeah. But no, I mean, obviously, going back to this theme of authenticity, how did you? Is that all just from your head, or did you actually did you speak to people who work in both sides and kind of the religious fanatics and also sex workers? Did you actually speak to people to kind of inform yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm from Oklahoma, which is a pretty religious state, and I've been around you know, very religious people. I went to some Catholic school and was asked to leave some Catholic school. So I have that background and understanding. So I understand,
Right.
you know, the extremes of religion and how far it'll go. And I know people like that. I also know people that have done sex work and, you know, have become familiar with that whole racket too. So, you know, both are very fitting for a horror movie or a movie like this. So put them together and it seemed like kind of the perfect combination.
And was that the initial seed? Were those two that you decided to put those together? Or did you have another idea for maybe a horror movie or something like that? And these just kind of maybe from another script and they came together?
I always thought a lot lizards would be a really great kind of genre or kind of you know, set piece for a horror movie, and then, you know, you interject religion into that and it's just kind of the perfect mixture. So yeah, it was kind of always the idea.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you say it's the perfect mixture, but it can't have been an easy balance, especially once we get this newcomer in the group now, without giving too much away. That must have been really complicated to create this kind of for the rest of the cast to embrace her into this group of the lot lizards now, and to make it feel authentic. And she pretty much embraces what they do in the click of a finger. Now that must have been very complicated to kind of make that feel realistic. No, because so little time for someone so religious to suddenly jump in with this group and kind of start doing things that she'd completely been against up until then. That must have been a really complicated balance, especially in the writing period. No,
I don't think so. I mean, maybe, you know, I don't know. It did. That wasn't one of the challenges I found for me. I mean, Olivia is a really, really great actor too. And, you know, the way we casted the film, I mean, kind of our main players, you know, Sam, Eden, Virginia, Owen, like the kind of core group I've worked with before, or Jeremy, like we all kind of knew each other. And so there was a relationship between everybody already. Olivia, nobody knew. So she kind of came in as an actor, as an outsider already. So it kind of naturally, you know, played itself out. And we shot not completely in sequence in order, but pretty close. So it kind of naturally just fit, you know? So yeah, it worked out.
I mean, Sam, you said there earlier that that you have no problems working with John because you work with him so many times now. And so a film like this for you, despite what you do in the film, for you, you felt comfortable. How did you make Olivia feel comfortable? Was it easy for her to kind of integrate with the rest of you? How did you make her feel comfortable? Because she gets some of those way out scenes as well that will shock the audiences.
She's a pro. She knows what she's doing. So
Olivia makes herself feel comfortable.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much.
She's been on so many sets and
Yeah.
she just hops right in and knows how to play right away. So yeah, that was and all of us, like me and Eden and Virginia, had all talked and did our own kind of research and whatever we needed to do to have it feel authentic. Like I talked to someone I know who used to do that, and she was really open with me, and I just had like a ton of questions, and so we all kind of had our own little process and then would share notes and talk to each other, and so it was a fun bonding thing.
Curiously, I mean, you said that you had quite a few questions to ask them. Is there anything that you can share with me that I mean, based on the script that you read, I imagine, before you went to speak with these people, what kind of questions did you have for these people? And is there anything that they responded to you that you thought would be brilliant to bring into the film and eventually did come into the film?
My biggest question, just because I had some of those like sexual scenes, like the opening was, where is your mind at? Like what headspace do you go into when you're getting paid to perform a sexual act? Like I wanted to know, are you ever enjoying it? Is that ever part of it? Or is it just a job? Are you just thinking about the money? Like I just want to know, where do I get my head and you know, like anything, everybody has a different opinion, and there's no like one way, but I just used the girl that was really open with me that I talked to. I used her as I kind of like modeled Sadie after her experience. So, but it's one experience, like everybody has a different take on it, or
And obviously you taught it to quite a few different festivals over here. I'm in Spain, and you went to Terra Molins, was one of them over here in Spain. Have any religious people, anyone who've worked in kind of the sex work business, has anyone reached out to you or spoken to you or given you kind of your opinion, or have you seen an opinion online about it, and have they kind of praised how authentic the film is?
No, not yet. I mean, and honestly, I mean, you know, I really more wanted the film to feel like an X-rated John Hughes movie, like an X-rated Breakfast Club kind of feel, rather than like a real life depiction of sex work, you know, because I know, you know, the sex workers I know and that I've seen is not this cheery or colorful, you know what I mean? And so, you know, I'm not gonna try and grandstand and say I was trying to make any statements about sex work or depict them in any way. I just wanted to depict these characters as, you know, their own individual people with stories, and you know, let the audience kind of connect and relate to them and have fun, you know. So
And also going back to the fact that you've worked with quite a few of the same actors in various films, do you find yourself either consciously or either consciously or not writing the characters that you write? Do you think, right, I'm going to write this character for Sam, or write this character would be perfect for Frank Grillo because he worked with Frank Grillo for quite a few films? Or do you try to avoid that? Try not to kind of fall into that kind of but it's not a stumbling block, but it's quite easy to kind of fall into to write specifically kind of before you sit down and write to think about who you will have in the film. No,
I find it to be a great asset because, you know, for Sam, for Owen, who I've worked with, who plays Levi, for Eden, who I've worked with, Frank, I know their cadence, I know how they speak, I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses as actors, and so I can really play to those things when I'm writing, and I find it really, really helps me out. I'm writing something now, and I have people in mind, and it's also, you know, I'm very fortunate that, you know, Jeremy and I have good relationship with all these actors, so I can, you know, call them beforehand and say, hey, I'm thinking about writing this thing for you. Would you be interested in it? And they say, yeah, of course, I'd love to. So there's a security there too.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that I'm not wasting my time, you know, and it just makes my job so much easier. You know, with Frank, I've done, I think, 5 movies with him now, or I think, and there's a shorthand there where we work so much quicker together because I don't really have to always relay a note to him. I just start walking towards him and he's like, I got it. And I'm like, okay. And same with Sam, So yeah, we take a lot of pride, Jeremy and I, in our kind of like kind of theater troupe we have of actors, No,
you're very lucky in a way, with that way. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think they're lucky actually, but we're lucky too.
Well, it works both ways. I meant in both ways, yeah. But no, having said that though, one of the films that you have got coming up soon is One Day as a Lion, which I don't think you wrote.
Right.
And despite there are some characters that you have worked with before, these are all new, mostly new actors that you work with, and this is not a script that you wrote, no. So can you tell me a little bit about what it's like directing a script that you haven't written? Because this is the first time you've done it, I think, no?
Yeah, I mean, that was a really unique experience that I don't think I'll probably ever do again.
No.
Just because, not in a bad way as much.
Yeah.
No, I know what I mean.
I think you would.
What I mean is the lead in the movie, Scott, also wrote the movie.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting relationship where, you're directing the person who's also the author of the material. So it was interesting in a way to where, I mean, at a certain point, Scott's kind of knows what the character is going to do because it originated from him. So at times I wasn't necessarily needed to direct him, but I don't know that I'd ever be in that situation again where I'm directing somebody that also wrote the material. I liked directing material I didn't write because I was completely objective. I didn't have any personal attachment to the story.
Right.
I was able to kind of, be very, very clear on what I thought worked and didn't work. And I'm pretty good with my own material with that now because I've done so many movies. But when it's not your material, it's much easier to divorce yourself from it and be objective. So.
Did he actually handpick you for that, or did that script kind of reach your desk and you decided you wanted to work on it?
It was, we had worked with Scott's agency quite a few times, and his agent reached out to Jeremy and said, hey, I have this script. I think you guys could, might be interested in it. Jeremy read it, liked it, and said, hey, you should check this out. I talked to Scott. Scott's a cool guy. We should, take a look at it. Let's see if we want to do it. So I read it, and then we did a Zoom with Scott, and we all got along, and it was like, all right, let's give this a go. And so it ended up happening and coming together very quickly, and the movie's done, and it's a fun ride. So.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Yeah, no, because you've got quite a few things. You don't stop. You've got quite a few things coming out soon. So listen, they give me the wrap. So thanks so much for your time, guys. It's really been a pleasure to speak to you. It's been.
We got Little Dixie too, man. Little Dixie with Frank.
Yeah, I was going to say you got Little Dixie at Wrenchville. I just saw the trailer. Yeah, I posted a news piece about the trailer just earlier this morning. So yes, it looks great as well. Yeah, I can't wait to see that one too.
Yeah.
So hopefully speak about that one. So best of luck with the film, and I hope to speak to you again sometime soon, guys. All the best. Take care.
We are here to cleanse ourselves of this world. Then we will leave it.